Welcome back. Today, we're taking a trip into the world of Pokémon and Ash's journey of discovering his father. If you enjoy stories like this and you want more in the future, consider subscribing and tapping the bell to be notified when new stories go live every single week. For now, lay back, relax, and enjoy the story. The air in Pallet Town had a quality of preserved memory, a stillness that Ash Ketchum, the world monarch, now found unsettling. His journey was complete, but a quiet restlessness had taken root in his soul. Pikachu, a constant warm weight on his shoulder, was his anchor in this strange new world of peace. They had seen it all, from the distorted dimensions of Giratina to the vast open wilds of Galar. Yet something felt unfinished. He sat with his friends, Go and Chloe, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of Charizard's fire. Earlier that day, he had been sorting through his old keepsakes. A Soothe Bell from Hoenn, a Z-Ring from Alola, and found himself thinking of the fathers he had met along his journey, like Norman of the Petalburg Gym. Oddly, as he sat there with that thought in his mind, the strange sound of a sleek black drone hovered overhead, slowly descending to the ground. In Professor Oak's garden, it delivered a small lacquered box and vanished. Inside was a single obsidian black Pokeball. When Ash touched it, a holographic map glowed to life, pinpointing the long-defunct Viridian Gym. A simple message appeared beneath it. It is time you learn the truth. A jolt of ice went through him. He knew with certainty that defied logic what this was. An answer to a question he had stopped asking decades ago. He told his friends that this was one trip that he had to go through alone. The only one he would allow by his side was the one that had been there for him from the very start. Pikachu's cheeks sparked, a silent vow of unwavering support. The Viridian Gym was a mausoleum of forgotten battles. Dust motes danced in the silvers of light, illuminating the derelict arena. A tall man stood at the center, impeccably dressed, an aura of immense, controlled power radiating from him. At his side, a Persian with a cruel, intelligent gleam in its eyes preened. As Ash stepped onto the field, the man turned. It was Giovanni. The silence was thick with unspoken accusations. A volcano of emotion erupted in Ash, decades of anger, confusion, and resentment. This was the man whose criminal empire had cast a shadow over every region he had ever explored. The man who had orchestrated the brutal experiments that led to the torment of Mewtwo, the Pokémon that had become his friend, or something close to it. And this man was his father. Giovanni's face was a mask of cold composure. He began to speak of legacy, of strength, of a world he wanted to claim, justifying his absence as a form of protection. He claimed that he had sent the Team Rocket members who had haunted Ash for so long to simply ensure that he was safe as he traveled across the world. His words were hollow, meaningless. But before Ash's rage could boil over into a challenge, the gym doors creaked open again. Standing in the entrance, her face etched with worry, was Delia Ketchum. Professor Oak, fearing the worst, had called her. She walked slowly into the arena, her gaze fixed not on her son, but on the man she hadn't seen in over 20 years. Her presence shattered the tension, replacing it with a profound, weary sadness. She didn't speak a word, but her eyes asked the question that mattered most. Why? For the first time, a crack appeared in Giovanni's cold facade. He looked at Delia, at the life he abandoned, and then at the powerful, righteous man his son had become in spite of him. The weight of his choices seemed to land on him all at once. Giovanni looked at Ash and then back at Delia. He knew that there was only one way to bridge the gap of all those years, or at least attempt to. He gestured to the battlefield, a challenge, an explanation in the only language he and his son truly shared. Ash nodded, not even saying a word. His movements were stiff with fury. Pikachu leapt to the ground, his whole body humming with power. This wasn't a battle for victory, it was an exorcism of ghosts. And the fight was brutal. Persian was a flurry of claws, but Pikachu was a storm of righteous lightning. The battle raged, and Ash's control began to slip. The years of feeling abandoned fueled a darkness inside of him. "Harder, Pikachu, use everything you've got," he shouted across the battlefield. The commands were raw. Pikachu hesitated for a split second, feeling the unfamiliar rage from his partner. It was Delia's voice, though, that cut through the haze. "Ash, remember who you are." Her words were like a splash of cold water. Ash flinched, his anger receding. He was not his father. He would not win through brute strength and rage and animosity. In that moment of clarity, the air grew heavy. Mewtwo materialized between the two of them, its violet eyes not judging but offering understanding. It opened a psychic bridge, flooding their minds with memories. Ash saw Giovanni's lonely rise to power, the fear that had led him to leave his family, and the flicker of pride he felt every time he heard news of a certain trainer from Pallet Town. Giovanni saw Ash's entire journey, the friendships, the sacrifices, the unwavering love for Pokémon, and the incredible good that he had brought to the world. The battle ended not with a final explosive attack, but with a quiet and peaceful understanding. Ash looked at Pikachu, bruised and defiant, and gave a slight shake of his head. It was over. He had proven his point. Giovanni stood motionless for a long time, the shared memories settling within him, and a singular tear appearing at his eye. He looked at his son, the champion. He looked at Delia, his past. And he made a choice. He pulled out a small communicator from his pocket, the source of all his commands to Team Rocket. "It's over," he spoke into the device. "Disband everything." And then he dropped it to the floor and crushed it under his heel. The reign of Team Rocket was finished. He looked at Ash, his eyes showing a deep, painful regret. He needn't ask for forgiveness. He knew he hadn't earned it. He simply stated he had a lifetime of mistakes to undo. He gave Delia one last long look and then walked past his son and out of the gym. Not as a villain disappearing into the shadows, but as a man walking towards a different, uncertain light. Ash stood with his mother, the silence no longer heavy with anger, but filled with the quiet possibility of a new beginning. He was at peace. his questions answered and his family's story no longer a question mark, but as a chapter just starting to be written in the whole new world that Ash was about to experience. That's all for this story. If you're still with us, consider checking out another one of our adventures. YouTube should have put a couple on screen for you. And of course, consider subscribing for more calm weekly stories just like this. Farewell, my wonderful heroes.